Can't see anything. Stream is offline. You are live. Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's loading.
Yep. We are online. We are live.
We
are live on YouTube.
Yeah, boy.
I wonder if anybody's actually going to come and watch. That'll be a surprise. This is a first for us. We have no viewers, so we can say whatever we want right now.
That's true. But this is being recorded, though.
This is being recorded too.
Okay. Awesome.
So, welcome to the first ever Joy of Stupidity podcast. I'm Zabel Wolf, and I am joined by Pyro.
Pyro, yes.
Pyro. I've never seen him. I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good. It's Friday.
It is Friday, so I gotta go to work later.
That's no bueno.
So, in this podcast, we're going to talk about recent news. Most importantly, this is going to be based more on the inauguration before, during, and after President Trump and the protests which have happened in between.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Yeah, so let's I guess we'll just start talking about the Women's March itself, and I guess how that went down. So I guess in protest of Donald Trump being inaugurated, for the most part, at least they're not officially saying this, but from what I've seen, is that that's how the Women's March kind of came to be. Even though a lot of women are saying, oh, it wasn't because of Donald Trump. I'm like, no, it was. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of all over the place in the spectrum. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about it?
Oh, what do I think? The Women's March was an interesting item. I'm not entirely sure that it was all because of Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure because the Republicans were planning on defunding things like Planned Parenthood anyway, that they were already getting ready for the Women's March. Just the fact that Donald Trump is now in power and the Republicans are defunding everything, the Women's March just gained more momentum.
Yeah. Well, the thing, and I just found this article. It's from the Daily Caller, and apparently this woman called Donna Hilton, who apparently kidnapped a guy and then tortured him to death. She was one of the main leaders of this march. So it's just kind of weird to see that. They're like, yeah, woman power. It's just kind of like they ignore the side effects of what's going on the opposite spectrum. It's like reverse racism in a way. Like it's like how a black guy can get away with racism because they're black, so they can do whatever they want. That it's kind of like that idea, but like, oh well, I'm a woman, so I'm the victimizer, the victim in this situation. So basically, this chick kidnapped with a couple other people, kidnapped a dude and tortured him and burned him and killed him. I believe they killed him. Yeah, they tortured him to death. And she got 25 years in prison because of this. And she was one of the main speakers of the event. Like, what's up with that? Like, there's no way like these people thought, oh yes, let's have a convicted killer up as a speaker for our movement. And that's just weird. It kind of vibes me the wrong way. So I don't know. That's just one of the things I kind of saw um, with the march. I had a couple of really conservative friends that they they liked the march, but a good chunk of them just kind of just hated on it and were like, "Oh, they're just a bunch of stupid women. They don't know what they're doing." And I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And I actually had to I actually had to like tell one of my friends like, well, you can't just say it's stupid and the whole thing is stupid because, I mean there are some stupid things that happened in it, but I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a touchy subject, but that's what I saw with it.
Well,
So
yeah, the Women's March. Now, just to put things into perspective, I am a sort of half liberal, half Republican, so I'm not even a libertarian. I'm just screwed up.
I don't know, man. That sounds like a libertarian right there.
No, libertarians are way farther to the right than the Republicans.
So
Uh,
you're like that straight up moderate. You're like right in the middle, like no man's
yes.
land. I
That,
call it no man's land because no one's ever there.
well, I'm
you,
there, and I'm there by myself.
you either see people that they're on the other trenches. I've been obsessed with Battlefield 1 lately. So World War One is just trenches. Just, I don't know, coming to mind. But yeah, it is. I don't know. It's just weird. And then there's that whole like people from Canada couldn't come in because they wanted to join the protest. And
Now,
so the border patrol wasn't letting them in because of that. They were saying no. Like
well,
what's up with that?
the thing with that was the march which had happened the previous day when people were trying to enter had gone into not just a march and a protest that was peaceful. It had anarchists in there who were causing trouble. Now, regardless of whether you like Donald Trump or not,
Yeah.
the simple fact of the matter is if trouble had happened at one march, you are not going to let people in who are going to go to another march when you don't know what they're going to do. You have to be a bit more cautious. After the first march had been so bad, that was why they were doing that. But of course, Donald Trump and his administration got the blame for it straight away.
Well, here's the thing. I can't really pick a side with that is because Donald Trump effectively put a censor on the EPA and all the social media, official social media of like NASA and the National Forest Rangers. I don't like that. I mean, what? Just because he doesn't like something being said about him doesn't give him the right to just censor people.
Oh no.
Like
And
that.
that is something that we need to hold Donald Trump accountable for. That is one of those things which should never be allowed to happen. Nobody should be censored for having a different opinion on who the President of the United States of America is. No one should be told that their voice doesn't count. If you didn't vote and you had the right to vote, then your voice has a lot less volume than the people who did vote because you should have voted. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of people are being censored and they shouldn't be. That's just wrong. Hello? Apparently I left the call. We will be right back. Apparently I left the call and now I got to find my way back into the call.
Boot it out, man.
Oh, we're going live again.
Fuck it. Do it live.
Yeah.
You ever see that Bill O'Reilly quote?
Nope.
Fuck it. Do it live. She pulled up. Just play for the audience right now.
I think they
So,
can pull it up for themselves.
okay, fair enough.
Okay, well, we are back. I don't know what happened there.
I think we cut out.
Yeah, one of us got cut off. And of course,
We
I'm the
had
one live streaming, so you got to see that I was cut off, but you
We
could
had
hear me
some-
and not him.
technical difficulties.
Yep. So, with all the technical difficulties over and done with, what was the last thing you heard me say?
I remember I was talking about I honestly don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay, so we were talking about how Donald Trump is censoring people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So,
No one should be censored, and no president has the right to censor people.
right. So here's the thing. All these places that are technically under the government, they actually just went and created rogue accounts on social media so that they can post what they want to post without being censored. So there's like a rogue NASA and all U.S. National Service and just like all his other just like social media accounts. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like I don't know. It's just nuts.
Yeah, well, social media is a bit of a mixed bag lately. I mean, did you hear about the woman who said that snowflake is a Nazi term?
Well, no, I did not. What?
Yeah, Dr. Kelly Senholz on Twitter said, white supremacists started calling anti-Trump people snowflake. It's a Nazi term referring to dust from the crematoriums. I'm pretty sure we were calling people special little snowflakes before it had anything to do with being anti-Trump.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is that people are kind of just making a bigger deal over things. Like it's just we're seeing a huge wave of extremism on both sides of the spectrum now. It's not just it used to be a lot more prominent on the conservative side of things, but now it's like the Democrats are losing their shit too. It's like on both ends, and it's making like both sides uncomfortable. So I'm not really sure what's gonna happen like 5 years from now, or or like after Trump is done being president, you know. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It's interesting because technology is having such an impact on all of this, and I don't think a lot of these politicians know how to handle it because they're not used to having like social media and Twitter and Snapchat and all this stuff in their face and pretty much information ready at the blink of an eye. And half the time the information isn't even truthful, but people don't care about the truth. They just want to, whatever seems interesting will catch our eyes off the bat. So I think that's also part of the reason why Trump is president too, is because he knows how to entertain people. It's not about policies or what you believe in or whatever. It's about can you talk well to the people and be funny at the same time. It's almost like a high school student council in a way. It's like high school in a way.
Yeah, I don't remember that much about high school. I didn't enjoy it. But the thing the thing about social media and things like that is a lot of people just go out looking for reinforcement of their own ideas. When they see something, if it reinforces their idea, they accept it. They don't look into it. If it doesn't reinforce their own ideas, then they will look into it. And if it is true, they will dismiss it anyway. If it isn't true, well, they will call out the people who put it out there. That's how social media works in this day and age. And a lot of the people who are in Congress, in the Senate, They're so old. I'm surprised they know how to turn on a computer. Some of them.
Yeah. Here's the scary thing. The scary thing is that people they how do I say this? They don't look to the facts anymore, and they don't, like you were saying, they don't do research. They just kind of just explode with reactions and emotions that people, the American public is, the most popular topic of electing a politician or someone like that in our current day and age is terrorism. Apparently, 76%, that's the highest rated one. New York Times released a study saying that has 76% of people thinking that's the biggest issue, thinking that is an issue with our country. 76%. So, I mean, I could see where they're coming from. Um, but it's just really it's just kind of mind blowing just to see how fast an effect that can have. I don't know. It's it's just kind of crazy because it wasn't like that even just 5 years ago. I mean, this is all like really sudden. I feel like this has happened just in the past 2 years. I mean, if you say something, we live in a day of age where anything you say could get you fired or get you like heavily like scrutinized because that's how fast things go viral. Like it's nuts. Like I've seen comedians, I've seen like just reporters, they say one small thing like out of context and they get fired over it. Now, like for example, like there was a one SNL writer that said that thing about Trump's kid. Like I just said a pretty stupid thing.
She said that he was going to be the first ever homeschool shooter.
Yeah.
She's a comedic writer.
Which I don't know what the fuck she was thinking when she said that. Like, I wouldn't say that on my social media, especially if I was like a well-renowned, you know, Twitter person.
Even if
You
I
know,
thought it, I would not say it.
yeah, like I don't. Maybe that's just the mindset of people who live in New York, because I mean, New York's heavily liberal. It's really liberal state
Well,
and
so are
city.
you.
So what?
So are you.
No, I'm there's liberal, and then there's like holy shit, calm the fuck down, liberal. But her saying that, I just, the point is that should she have been fired? I don't know. I mean, I don't think someone's career should just be completely terminated over one thing that they say,
But
and
here's the thing: when it comes to instances like that, you have to remember that that person's attitude and what they did that reflects on who they work for. If they say something stupid and it brings down the brand that they work for at the same time, well, they have to cut their ties, otherwise, it could make things worse. Now, in most cases, that will backfire. Uh, Personally, I'm surprised SNL being a liberal haven in itself would fire somebody for saying something that almost every liberal was probably thinking at the same time. Hardcore liberals, not the moderate ones who are somewhere with me in the middle or somewhere near me in the middle. I'm the lone man right smack dab in the middle. But I mean, the hardcore liberals so far on the left that if there was a diving board, they wouldn't even be standing on it.
you gotta admit, the Donald Trump SNL skits are pretty funny
I
if you've never
haven't
seen a
found a
couple.
single one funny just yet. I've tried watching them, but Saturday Night Live has not been funny for me since the early
since the
'90s.
since the Chris Farley era, since the Adam Sandler when he didn't produce awful movies.
Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, those guys.
And the funny thing is if I mean I'm kind of in that weird generation where like I'm like in between. I'm like a millennial, right? But like I see the younger generation, younger than me, is project. I think the Generation X or something like that.
Yeah.
And isn't that what they're called? Generation X.
Yeah.
But they never experienced like watching TV or messing with VHS tapes or anything like that. Like I did. That was part of my childhood. So like for them, they just go on the internet and like that's becoming the norm is they don't watch TV. Like who watches TV anymore for information? So what does that say about their generation when they just use the internet for everything and like this is how they give information? Because we know better. We know all aspects of it, and just gathering that kind of information. But it's I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. It's just kind of crazy that how fast information is able to get into our hands from the internet. And I think I think that like the Women's March is something that I could also kind of attribute to that in a way.
Well, now, while the Women's March is not an odd thing, the Tea Party marched when Obama was president. The weird thing is, with a lot of the marches that have happened before and during Trump's
See,
inauguration, I
I
haven't
didn't even,
heard anything about the ones
yeah,
afterwards.
same. I
But
didn't even know about Obama. Like I didn't know anything about that stuff. Like
uh,
about when Obama became president, there's like a lot of protest marches like this, except there wasn't really internet back then at that time. It was
no,
like 2008. Like I mean,
no,
yeah,
but there were
YouTube was like in
protest
its infancy.
marches. There were protest marches, but there was no violence.
Yeah.
And a lot of the protests, we're dealing with people who have been raised in a world where they have been told that they will always get what they want, even if they don't win. They go to events, and if they fail and they come in last, they still walk away with a trophy. That's the world they live in, and when they lost and still didn't get what they wanted, they've kicked up a fuss. We saw it in England with the Brexit. We've seen it in America with the presidential election, and we're going to see it in other places around the world as people start to shift more in another direction. I'm not going to say they're going to shift more right because there are going to be more and more people who are going to end up like me in the middle, where there are certain things that people should have. From
I'm
my
just I'm just
personal point of view, there are certain social things that should be done, but there are a lot that the Democrats have done in America which are just too far beyond and they're a waste of money and they don't help anybody.
like Hillary Clinton getting Jay-Z and Beyonce to do a performance for her.
Yeah, I'm thinking more along the lines of heavy social security. Social security needs to happen to a certain extent. It happens in the UK. But the biggest difference, and if you can hear the music, I'm sorry, that's my son. He's playing on the floor beside me. The biggest difference between Social Security in the US and Social Security in the UK is that you are given help to find a job. And I don't just mean you go into an office and they go, here are some available jobs. I mean, if there aren't jobs that you are qualified for available, they will help you get the training to go for jobs which are there. If, for instance, you need a fork truck or I don't know what you call them here, fork truck license in order to get a job in your area, they will pay for you to get your fork truck license so you can get that job and get your ass off of the social so that you're not wasting taxpayer money.
See, I wish the US had more help in that way. And I feel like we don't, which really sucks. I mean, like at my university, they have like a career counselor that you can go to like let you know, like, oh, hey, there's jobs in these areas. Um, but I feel like that just isn't enough. I feel like more assistance would be good. Because that's really interesting. Because I mean, I've never lived in England. I don't know what their their
Well,
system is like there.
the
So
Democrats have been pushing to expand Social Security in different ways, and not one of them, not a single one, and I can't say the Republicans have ever thought of it either, because they're idiots and they just want to get rid of Social Security. But not a single one of them has gone, hey, how can we help these people get these jobs? I mean, they're not fantastically paying jobs, but they're jobs which would allow them to support themselves in some way. How can we help them get these jobs? Let's make them try and pay for it out of their own money. That is stupid.
yeah, it's like the welfare trap. That's what we have to deal with in the States, where if you're poor enough, you get a certain amount of assistance, but the more money you make, though, the less assistance you get. So it's either you have to make a good sum of money, or you have to be just super poor and have it be easy for you. So there's like no in between, which is I feel economically have always been an issue in the U.S. for a while.
See, there's another thing in Social Security that neither the Democrats or the Republicans have thought about, and it's called a top up system. Say you take the idea of taking a menial labor job and making it $15 an hour minimum wage isn't going to help anybody, because inflation is just going to go up to match that, and it's not going to change things. In fact, if you make places pay $15 an hour to their staff who really aren't worth that, they have to raise their costs, which means that they raise their prices to cover those costs. What the government should be doing is going, rather than having these people on social, so we have to pay for everything, why don't we give them a little assistance? They can have this low paying job. They are paying tax. More people have these jobs, more people are paying tax. And we take a little bit of that tax and top up their wages so they're making a living wage, so they're not struggling. Why is that such an alien concept here in the US? Why has nobody thought of that and put that forward? I've never seen it anywhere.
Honestly, from my years of living in the US and looking into our political system, I think part of the problem is that people here, since we have such a big country compared to like the UK, it's a lot harder to enact change on the national level than it is on the state level. Because I mean, the UK itself is like the size of like one state in America. So I think that's probably the biggest issue of it. That's also why there's only two main political parties. It's because I mean, if it was just like a state level, then I don't know. I think a lot more people. I'm hoping that with the easier access to information, that people can make better informed decisions. But at least not like on the East Coast area and certain areas, I feel like it's actually doing the opposite. You know, you see a bunch of shit posting on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. It's more about entertainment than about education and information. So,
Well, social media and the internet has been used to such an effect for dissemination of information which isn't true. Now, I can't just blame the people who are passing along this incorrect information, because it's also down to people to use their brain cells and think, does this sound right? Is this correct? How can I find out? I have access to the largest repository of information in the world. How can I find out if this is true?
well, the thing is that I think, and this is part of the problem with our education system, is that people are taught to just obey and not really think for themselves. Like back then, it was encouraged a lot more back then to take risks and just do your own thing and just I don't know, just be ballsy. But especially in the current, K through 12, education system, and even in university level, we're just kind of strapped to this education system that just it's like pay attention in class, do exams, do your labs, and respect authority, and I think that's a huge problem that I've seen. Because a lot of, especially the younger generation, like my generation somewhat, and especially, Generation X, I'm seeing it a lot more and more where even like they don't know what half these politicians are. There's just their mindset is, oh, don't worry about politics or anything like that. Just go have fun and then just, do your classes and obey and do your exams and, go on Facebook and whatever. So
Yeah, see, I'm not that much older than you. But when I was in school, we were taught to study, to look for the answers. Yeah, you had to respect the teachers, but if you didn't believe the teachers were giving you the correct information, you could question it until you got the answer, until you felt comfortable with the answer. These days, it's this is the truth. Okay.
like I'm gonna read off. So this is the not my president, which by the way, that's the stupidest fucking hashtag ever. So hashtag not my president, the Facebook page, their admin posted this the day before the march, which by the way, I don't know why they posted the day before the march, but so this is what she said. Look, let us be frank. We don't have permits, we don't have safety officers or signs, and we only have a vague idea of a route. We are college students who did not expect it to get this big, and we don't know what we're doing. We are thrilled that so many people want to show up, but we, the admins, have to face the fact that we alone can't manage this. So we are relinquishing our control. That doesn't mean we're giving up. Well, I think she meant to say giving up. And neither should you. We're still going to be at the inauguration on the morning on the 20th. We will be starting our own tiny math at X Park and marching down 16th. So apologies. That was posted on December 29th. So a little less than a month than the inauguration. I think I think that kind of plays into the whole, like, it's just kind of just unorganized and there's not really any organization to any of this really. And that's why we're kind of in this mess. So
These are the future leaders of the country, college students. These are the future business owners, the future CEOs, the future leaders of this country, the future politicians. We're not prepared for this.
if you watched any of the New York protest marches, and again, I think protests have their need. They're needed in some areas. But to just blindly march in the streets and block traffic, like I've have friends that live out in New York, and it's a loud city, by the way. And there's just I've seen some of their apartments, and they're right by busy streets, and they have to deal with these screaming people just out in the streets, just insanity. And it stops traffic, and it just makes things a lot harder.
I was watching the inauguration through most of the day last weekend. Exactly a week today, actually. I was watching the inauguration. And there were times they had this split screen and you could watch the protest on one side and everything else on the other side. And you'd have the reporter saying, there are people here ripping up bricks, ripping them off the concrete, throwing them at the police. And then you had some idiot behind them go, we're not doing any of that. Right, the cameras here can see the idiots behind you throwing stuff, but you're not paying attention. So you think the police are attacking you when in actuality, they are just defending themselves. I mean, there's cameras. You can't say it's not happening when there's cameras and they are catching you do it.
Yeah.
My son, the Zebra Pup, has come to join us.
I think your son said it best.
Yeah.
I think he said it best.
This is the world we live in now, and it's not the same world I grew up in. My grandparents were the ones who taught me a lot of what makes me me. They told me stories of World War II. My grandfather was there in the Pacific Theatre fighting alongside American troops. He was one of a very small number of British troops who were there fighting, and the Pacific Theatre was not a nice place to be.
No, it
He
wasn't.
was My grandparents were there when the EU was formed. And it was mostly grandparents, mostly old people who went out in England to vote for Brexit. And then we had all the youth in colleges who didn't like it ragging on the old people, saying, well, they don't have to live with this for very long. They're going to die soon. How disrespectful could you be? Now we're dealing with the same thing, where older people have mostly voted for Trump. The reason why the Electoral College is in place is so that so that places like California can't sway the vote by themselves. And we have a whole bunch of youths who have no idea what's going on in the world around them, who really just take the media at face value, take their favorite famous people at face value, take their very biased teachers at face value, and then argue without a thought in their brains about what they really believe in, where they should be going, what they really want for this country.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So, but the question is, how do we fix this? You know, how do we fix this issue? You know, I think if we're gonna fix something like that, we would have to change the core foundation of our education system and just how our economy works. Because right now, it's either I feel like it's like either a slave owner or you're a slave to a company. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. Like, you're a slave to either the education system or to a company, or I really wish that wasn't the way it was now.
See, I'm both. I'm both. From that perspective, I'm the slave owner and I'm a slave. I work for a company, but I just incorporated yesterday. If that makes perfect sense. But I just don't understand where this country... I don't understand where the world is going. At a time when we should be coming together. Yes, Donald Trump is not the most ideal person. But for all of his faults, for all of his issues, he never lied about who he was. We already knew who Donald Trump was. That was out there. He tried to cover some things up, but when things came out, there was no hiding from it. And he never really lied about who he was. Clinton, on the other hand, lost because... not only did she lie to win the primary, the Democratic National Committee were pushing everything to make sure that she was the candidate.
Yeah.
She lied throughout the entire thing. And then when things came out that put her in a bad light, it's like, well, we already knew what Trump was like. How the hell did you manage to keep this hidden? Why should we trust you? If Bernie Sanders had been the Democratic nominee, we would be having a very different conversation right now. Because I have no doubt he was the only person who could beat Trump.
Yep. That's what I think. But I think I've never lost so much faith in our election system until this presidential election. I mean, when the Senate elections happened 2 years ago, I mean, some states, such as the state of Utah, where I happen to live, there was literally only one Republican vote slot you can vote for, and that was it. There was no opposition. And I mean, I guess I could see why. It's because it takes a lot of effort and money to set up a campaign. But I just thought that was kind of sad that there was just no opposition at all. So people just didn't vote. And I didn't vote because there was no point. There was no one to vote for. It was just one person running for the slot, and that was it. So I think that's a huge issue. I don't know. I don't think Hillary Clinton was like a straight up liar. I mean, okay, she lied on certain things pretty badly. She was like a she was like an alien at times. Donald Trump also lied a lot too. Um,
But
I
with
just
Trump, we expected it. When he stretched the truth, when he lied, when he said stupid things, we expected it. This is Donald J. Trump. He lies, cheats, and steals. He's a businessman. That's what businessmen do. Otherwise, they're not businessmen. They're broke. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, is not a businesswoman. She is a politician. Politicians are known for lying, but they're also known for keeping to their core values. The woman had no core values. She flip-flopped more than a fish out of water.
she was literally just a rich lady wanting to get richer. And if anyone watches this, people that try to savagely defend her, let's be real. If Hillary Clinton was a guy, she would not have gone as far as she did. This is
No, if
such a
Hillary Clinton was a guy, it would not have been a contest. Bernie
no.
Sanders would have won that one hands down. It's because she was a woman. The Democrats thought, "Hey, we got the first black president in. Our best bet is to play the gender card, and we're going to get the first woman in."
I think a lot of this is kind of like almost like reverse sexism and racism. I've been seeing a lot of that lately. It's been really prevalent this past year. So it kind of puts me in an awkward situation as a white male to be like, I don't really know what to do in this situation. I feel like a lot of other guys kind of feel the same because it's like, yeah, you don't support an Oompa Loompa for president, but at the same time, you kind of want to not destroy your prospects of getting a job or, being savagely hated on more than you already are. So it's just kind of a really weird predicament to be in. And I mean, these women are like, oh, well, you should just believe in feminism. Just do it. Otherwise, we're going to cut off your dick. But uh, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I think that's why Donald Trump won, is because a lot of guys, let's face it, there's a lot of white guys in our country, and a lot of them are really hard workers. And we're kind of being targeted in this way that kind of makes a lot of people nervous. So
I know exactly where you're coming from. I mean, I'm a straight white, what's the word, cisgendered male
you're a demon.
from England.
You're the devil.
I am an immigrant to the United States of America. I came here legally. It has cost a bloody fortune. And it's still going to cost more before I can become naturalized. Naturalized. It's a ridiculously expensive process, and it gets more expensive when they're constantly trying to recoup money to pay for immigrants who've come here illegally. It is one thing to come here, get to the border, and seek asylum because you come from a bad country. It is another thing to cross the border illegally and start working illegally and taking jobs away from people. Yeah, they're low-wage jobs, but there are people who rely on those jobs. And that's why I'm so against illegal immigration. I don't know if the wall will work or if they could even build it, but the argument against the wall is that something like 25 to 40% of illegal immigrants come through airports. Yeah, but have you ever been through an airport? They take your picture, they take your fingerprints, they ask where you're going, they have all this information. It's really hard to hide. When you cross the border illegally, they don't know what you look like, they don't have your fingerprints, they have no idea where you're going. If you could force people to cross the border and they broke through the border illegally, you still know what they look like, it's easier to track them. That makes a big difference. It's a huge dent in illegal immigration when people can't hide who they are.
kind of interesting about the Syria conflict and what's going to happen with that. I think we should talk about that next time for a certain degree.
Yeah,
Um,
we need to find more topics to talk about. We're going to do this as a weekly thing, so if anybody wants to give us an idea of a topic that they want to hear us talk about, like idiots, because hey, this is the joy of stupidity.
yeah,
Then,
we're definitely not Einsteins on this topic. We're just two dudes at the moment, just kind of just whatever we can find on information, and just this is purely our opinions.
it's purely our opinions,
Purely
and
our
if you
opinions.
want to hear us talk about things and sound like idiots, just tell us what you want to hear us talk about, and if it matches in with the topic of the week, it'll be there.
It'll be there. It'll be there, Wolf.
Yes, it will.
I'll be there.
And who knows, maybe we can get Simon or a few others involved.
Yeah, maybe we'll get Simon. We'll drag him out to here. Freaking Simon. It's a nubcake.
Yep.
The nubbiest of cakes. Speaking of cakes, how good! I just want to say that cake that Donald Trump had looks pretty tasty. Not gonna lie, I would have that. I don't know what that is. It's like a vanilla cake or something.
That cake? You mean the one which was a copy of President Obama's inauguration cake?
The complete rip-off cake. The literally exact duplicate cake. Like, I thought that was really weird. I don't know what he was thinking with that, but I don't know if he did it as an insult to Obama or what, but first off, the cake doesn't even look that great. I mean, it looks good, but it's like a weird kind of symmetrical like build to it. It's like it just looks really uneven. But yeah, I don't know what he was thinking with that.
I think it was of this single, very simple mindset. Anything he can do, I can do better.
Yeah, he kind of has an ego issue. That's for sure. I don't think that can be questioned at all.
No, Trump has a huge ego problem.
Oh, I think he meant to say huge. He has a huge issue. Huge ego.
I am not going to attempt to do I won't even touch an American accent, let alone a Trump accent.
Why is he so fat? Why doesn't he like go jog or something?
Because
Obama
he's
was like
rich. He can pay people to go jog for him.
Obama was like Obama was like a twig, and Trump is like just a total fat ass. Like,
yeah, but let's be fair. Have you ever played golf?
a couple times, not much.
It's not as easy as it looks. I love to play golf, and seriously, it's if you play 18 holes and you just keep going, you will be soaked in sweat if you are not healthy-ish. Obama was a twig, but he spent a lot of time playing golf.
Yeah, I don't. If I was ever president, I'd want to look, healthy and built. That's definitely not what Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, for the matter. I don't even know what Bernie Sanders is gonna do. I don't know if he's gonna run again in the next 4 years. I don't even know if he'll still be alive by then. He's like in his mid-70s.
It's okay. Trump's most likely gonna die while being president. I mean, it's not like he's in great shape.
I don't think he'll die. I think he'll live. He's gonna be there.
Yeah, what do you think of your new president? Oh, well. He buries his face in me the minute I ask him that. I don't think he likes Donald Trump.
No love for the Don. No love for the Donny Tiny Hands.
No love for the Don.
No love for the Don.
But I can't complain. I can't complain. So long as he doesn't kick me out the country, I don't care. I'm here legally, though, so unless I do something that's illegal, I can't be kicked out of the country.
I'm just waiting for that Mexico relationship to just blow up. I mean, let's be real. How the hell are we gonna build a gigantic wall? I mean, that's what is it, up to $20 billion? That's how much it's going to
Um,
cost.
if it's done correctly and it does its job, then it will make a difference because there won't be as much money spent on getting people out of the country or trying to find them. Which,
And this is kind of for me, and I used to live in Arizona. Like I lived near Tucson and the border. Like I've been through the border. So I just don't. I mean, he would have to buy off land. He would have to go through rivers. I just don't know how plausible it is. I don't know how it's gonna happen.
all I know is he has signed a presidential mandate, whatever they call them. Hey, pup, be quiet. He's signed a presidential mandate, whatever they call those things, to start building the wall, which means they're in the planning stages right now.
Yeah,
And
that's an executive order.
yeah, that's the thing. I know he was going to be having a meeting with the Mexican premier, and
And that didn't happen.
no, that
Nope.
didn't happen. That was
Straight up.
kind of fun to read
They,
about, though.
they straight up fought on Twitter and Snapchat. I shit you not. The two neighboring presidents of these two countries just fought on social media. Like, how crazy is that? This is nuts to me.
I thought it was hysterical.
I mean, it's funny, but it's like, what the hell is going on? Like, I don't know.
It could be worse. It could be a lot worse. The last topic we're going to touch on since Trump's inauguration, the doomsday clock.
Oh yeah, so it moved 30 seconds closer to the doomsday because it's two minutes and 30 seconds away from basically. I think that's the basis of our world basically just being destroyed beyond repair.
Yeah, but it's the closest it's got in 65 years, and of the numerous reasons they give for this, aside from the fact that Iran and North Korea are working towards nuclear weapons, Donald Trump's presidency.
Well, here's the thing, and now I just want to say this: climate change is something that is happening. I mean, I've taken several science classes. I've taken a whole year of physics, chemistry. It's happening. Not over 95% of scientists agree it's happening, and
Over 95% of climate scientists agree, not 95% of world scientists. There's a big difference.
well, the thing the tackling the problem is a lot more complicated. I mean, a lot of the pollution is attributed from China, which they use a lot of coal mining and other sweatshop kind of SK jobs to fuel trade with us and other countries. So we can't really just shut those down, otherwise their economy tanks and they lose a lot of jobs out there, and they basically would have to go through the same issue that we're having. I think that's probably the reason why the clock moved closer to 12. Is because simply it's due to climate change. I don't think it's directly Donald Trump that caused it, because I mean these guys aren't stupid. I mean they've been doing this for a long time, over a century, I believe, just a really long time. Don't quote me on that. I don't really know. That's just what I'm guessing. So
Yeah, and it's just funny to me that Donald Trump's presidency was one of the key factors in the clock moving forward. Donald Trump becoming president of the United States of America has had two effects. One, it has helped move the doomsday clock closer to doomsday, and it has downgraded America from a full democracy to a flawed democracy, which is funny considering America is a republic.
yeah, I don't know where that status change even happened. Do you know where that happened?
Oh,
The flawed.
some kind of scientists, political scientists, who for the first time ever, downgraded America from a democracy to a flawed democracy. So from full to flawed. Which is funny because America is a democratic republic and not actually a democracy. If you want to talk about democracies, that would be socialist countries like France, Britain, Norway, Sweden, Germany. America is a republic. There is a difference between the two government systems.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that to really give a opinion, but I will say this. People need to get more involved in the political system. I think the youth is getting better at it. Bernie Sanders definitely promoted that. Um, I'm just hoping that climate change isn't as aggressive as scientists say it's happening, even though we've had the hottest years on record. Well, we'll see. You know, it's something that really that's not a U.S. issue. It's like a world issue, and I think people need to understand that it's not just us. I mean, China is by far worse when it comes to that issue, but that's something completely different.
Yeah.
Overall, I think going back to the protests and whether or not that theme is going to continue, I'm really interested to see if protesting like this, you know, escalates or what's going to happen. I'm really curious, like what's going to happen as a result of this, and because one of two things I think are going to happen. Either the government is just going to step in and basically just kind of just shoot down that First Amendment right into some fashion. Like there's going to be a harder cop crackdown on it to not allow it. Or it's going to do, or the opposite thing is going to happen, and it's just going to spike into chaos and anarchy across the states. I think the first option is a lot more plausible since it's a lot more constructed and ordered better. So all I know is if shit goes down where I live, I'm locking the doors and fuck that. I'm not joining that chaos. I'll be filming it, but I'm not gonna be joining it. So
Well, all I know is I am looking forward to the coming weeks, months, and years because I want to see how downhill, how weird, how wickedly awesome, and how stupid things are going to get here in the US and around the world as the SJWs lose
you gonna
more
wear a
and more
pussy
ground.
hat?
Pardon?
You gonna wear a pussy beanie?
Hell no.
Did you see those? The vagina beanies.
I did. I'm sorry. No. Never gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I just know that the coming weeks, months, and years are going to be an interesting experiment in either failure or success. The United States does not hinge on the next 4 or 8 years if somehow, some weird way he manages to get voted in again. It does not hinge on those years. It hinges on the people in this country and how they will accept and carry on with their lives. You have the right to protest. You have the right to an opinion. You have the right to say what you believe and to live your life the way you want to. You do not have the right to force your beliefs on other people. You cannot argue against a vote which, for all intents and purposes, was legal. Yes, he didn't win the popular vote, but he did win the vote, thanks to the Electoral College, which is not a flawed system. It's actually a really good system, which I'm amazed that nobody else has thought of. First past the post is stupid. It only works if you're talking about small bases, first past the post. So, I think we're going to call it there. We'll be back again next week at 2 o'clock Mountain Time-ish. Between 1 and 2. We haven't got a time set down yet, but we'll be back next week. So, do you got anything left to say, Pyro? Pyro.
Sorry, my thing kind of cut out there.
Do you got anything left to say?
Um, yeah. Make me a Pokeball beanie and not a vagina beanie, please.
Okay, well, thanks for watching if you've watched, and we'll see you again next week. Ciao.
See ya.